Childhood is the period when the foundations of our lives are laid. Every experience, every word, every look we receive during those years shapes the way we perceive the world. Sometimes these experiences give us strength, and sometimes they leave invisible scars. What we call trauma is often those invisible marks that we may not even notice, yet they deeply affect our adult life. Perhaps you often find yourself asking questions like these. Why do I keep making the same mistakes in my relationships? Why do I hesitate every time I want to start something new? Why can't I trust myself fully? The answers to such questions are often hidden in the shadows of the experiences you had as a child. Because childhood traumas do not simply remain in the past, they travel with us into adulthood and turn into obstacles on the path of personal growth. When we hear the word trauma, we usually imagine very big and dramatic events. Yes, violence, neglect, divorce, or loss certainly leave deep wounds. But sometimes situations that look much smaller from the outside can be just as powerful. Being constantly criticized, feeling unloved, having achievements belittled, or having emotions ignored can also leave painful traces. For a child, the fear of losing a parent's love feels like a threat to their very existence. And memories like these, which may seem small at the time, can later stop an adult from reaching their full potential. For instance, how confident can someone be in their career if they grew up in a home where they constantly heard, "You can't do it"? Deep inside, they will struggle with the fear of failure. They might work extremely hard, or they might avoid taking risks altogether. Because in their mind, that old voice still echoes. Or take a child who was always compared with a sibling. As an adult, this person might find themselves endlessly comparing with others, never feeling good enough, always thinking something is missing. And this is why traumas are among the greatest invisible barriers to personal growth. So how do these barriers work? Trauma builds a wall in the mind. That wall is meant to protect us from pain. But while it protects, it also restricts. Imagine someone who was punished as a child whenever they expressed emotions. As an adult, that person may avoid sharing feelings, struggle to open up, and find it hard to build close relationships. Yet one of the most essential steps of personal growth is expressing yourself. Trauma blocks this, which means trauma is not just a memory of the past. It actively shapes the way we act today. Sometimes clients ask me, "But doctor, things that happened in childhood are long gone. Why do they still affect me now?" At that point, we need to look at how the brain works. The brain does not erase painful childhood memories. It stores them because its primary job is to keep us alive. Imagine a child who loses a parent's affection every time they get angry. The brain records this experience as, "Anger is dangerous." And when that child grows up, they unconsciously suppress anger. But suppressing emotions is a major block in personal development. Because if you silence your emotions, you cannot fully know yourself. And if you cannot know yourself, you cannot truly grow. At this stage, it is important to remember something. Traumas are not destiny. They are simply a starting point. Yes, what happened in childhood was beyond our control. But the responses we give today are in our control. Recognizing the impact of trauma is the first step to transforming it. Facing our story bravely frees us on the path of self-development. Real growth does not begin by repressing. It begins by facing what is there. Think about it like this. The deeper the roots of a tree, the stronger its trunk becomes. Childhood traumas are cracks in those roots. But when we recognize those cracks and take care of them, we have the chance to strengthen the trunk. And never forget, no wound defines who we are. Only we decide what meaning we assign to it. Perhaps as you listen to these words, some of your own childhood memories come to mind. Maybe a small voice inside you is still speaking. Listen to it, because what we call personal growth is really the process of healing that inner child. Seeing its needs, approaching it with compassion, gives us back the missing pieces in adulthood. Childhood traumas may be obstacles to growth, but they can be overcome. Awareness, patience, and kindness toward ourselves are already enough to begin. And always remember this: you cannot change your past, but you can transform the effect the past has on you. Your childhood traumas do not have to hold you back. They can even become invitations to discover your full potential. What matters is finding the courage to begin this journey.